Okay, so this is how the file is going to open in Excel. What I'm going to do with mine is I'm going to change some of these columns as you see them. So let me just expand this a little for you. At the top here, I'm going to change this one to English name. Just put your cursor on the block on that cell and click it, and it'll just overtype. With my class, I want to know if the student has a student book and the workbook. And while they're doing my exam, I'm going to check their workbook. Page is not done. And we can do this as well, attendance. Okay, I think that's all we need. This column we can delete. If you guys are not familiar with Excel, the way to delete a column is just put your cursor right here on the column label J, right click and say delete, and the column's gone. Okay, and then we want to label our spreadsheet using our class name. So this is going to be local, and it's going to be Monday 10 a.m. Okay, so we've got the Monday 10 to 11, and we've got the Monday 12 p.m. to 1. Remember, we can just call this Global English, Monday 10 a.m. and then we can increase the font and we can make it bold. That looks pretty cool. To delete stuff in a cell, with your left mouse button, click on the cell and just drag it down. You can let it come down to the end. Once it's highlighted, you let go of your left mouse button and just hit the delete key. That deletes the contents of the cell. If you right click and delete, you're going to delete the column, you're going to delete the actual cells. We just want to delete the contents. So on your keyboard, hit the delete button and that's all gone. So now you can put the English names in later on. I've got 21 students, so I'm going to divide this into 11 and 10. So what we can do here is we can right click and we're gonna say copy, and we're gonna scroll down here, and at 12 I'm going to right click again. Can you see where my mouse is? Right there in the corner on row 14. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say insert copied cells, bang, and that's there. Then what we want to do is I'm going to change my mind here. We're making lists for the exams, so the best thing is we're going to call this one Monday 11 a.m. So we've got the two groups. We've got the Monday 11 a.m. and the Monday 10 a.m. group. And just to give the students a bit more information, we are going to include the date, which will be the 26th of October. So let's double click on a cell, and that means I can now edit the cell. I'm double clicking with my left mouse button. Global English, and we'll put a dash, and we're going to say October 26 dash, and it's Monday 10 a.m. We don't know the room number yet, so we cannot give that to them. So let's do the same thing here. Monday Global English dash 26, and then this is Monday 11 a.m. So now we can publish these lists for students. I suggest we publish it just in one list, and students can look on the list and check where their name falls. Let's just finish the formatting. So if I click here with my left mouse button, click and drag, we can put a nice thick border around. These are the different borders that we can select, and we're going to select a thick outside border, and then I'm going to do the same over here. Thick outside border, left mouse button, click and drag. There we go. Just to make a little more distinction, let's shade the cell. So I'm going to use the shading option here, and I'm just going to choose a gray, and then I'm going to choose the same one for this. Okay. So something we need to do over here is we're going to delete these contents so they're ready for us to write in when we use them. I'm going to be using this as an attendance sheet in the class for the midterm exam. So yeah, there it is. Our spreadsheet's almost ready. What I'm going to do quickly, and I'm not going to record it, I'm just going to find the English names and put them in, and then I'll come back and show you how to save it as a PDF file. You can do the same. Just find the English names, type them into each of these cells, but I'll take you through it in a minute. Okay, you can see I've typed in the English names of my students here. What we don't have is we don't have this on the next page. So a good way to do it, like I've showed you before, right click in the row label over here. If I right click, I'm going to say copy, scroll down, and then right here below the division of the two lists, I'm just going to say right click and insert copied cells, and there it is. So now we've got it on both pages. What else can we do with this before we finalize? Something else that is a handy tip to have, if you don't know this already, if you left click in the column label, watch my mouse, it's going to change from a little arrow to this symbol. This means I can now drag the cell and make it bigger or smaller. And that looks better than workbook divided. This looks fine. Attendance, we can just pull a little more. There we go. And what else can we do? Yeah, I think that's enough for now. Let's just keep it simple. So now I want to save my file. I'm going to save it as both an Excel and a PDF. So I'm just going to say File, Save As, and I'm going to drop it into second semester, and I've got a folder here for them, and I'm going to say midterm. And save. No, I don't want to save it as a web page. Okay, so it's automatically trying to save it as a web page because we downloaded this from the web. So here it says web page, just click here, drop down, and just say save it as an Excel workbook. And we're going to say save again, and there it is. To save it as a PDF, let's see if it's going to work. So we want to save just this section. We don't want to save the whole workbook page, which would include this. So again, use your left mouse button, click and just drag it down to there, and then we're going to say File, Save As, click on Browse, and then again when we saw the saving it as a web page, we chose to rather save it as an Excel workbook. Now we're going to scroll down to PDF, which is down here. And then I want to click on Options, and I'm going to save the selection as a PDF. And then I'm going to say OK and save. So now if we go to that directory, so if we look at this directory, here are the two. Student list as an Excel file, student list as a PDF. We're just going to check it. Okay, wrong one. Midterm exam list. There it is. I've already made student lists previously to this, which I could have used, but I just wanted to show you how to do it from scratch. So here we are, PDF midterm exam, and I just want to bring it, it's opened up on another monitor. There it is. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. You will notice it's truncated the save. Even though we highlighted it, it has done this to our PDF. So the way to fix that is weird, but let me show you. Let's just close that file, minimize that. You'll notice it's dropped in a little line here. This is the print size of the page. So what I do is I go through the same procedure. I'm going to left click and drag it down, and then I'm going to say File, Print, and I'm going to say Page Setup down at the bottom, and I'm going to say Fit to 1 page wide by 1 page tall, and then I'm going to say OK. And now you'll see it's brought attendance in. You might as well print it at this point so that you can have it for when you take attendance during your exam, but you don't have to print it now. I'm going to print mine. And then what we're going to do is we're now going to go through the same procedure again. File, Save As, Browse, and we're going to save it as a PDF. Options, Selection, OK, and save. Do I want to overwrite it? Yes, I do. And now if we open it, there it is. So we've got the nice thick borders all the way around. Student book, workbook pages not done, attendance. I'm going to explain to my students that I will be checking. They need to bring a student book and a workbook. Some of them I suspect still haven't bought a book. Not many of them, but there are a few that haven't registered in online practice, and I've already penalized them for that. So I'm telling my students they need to bring a student book and a workbook to the exam. I'm just going to check to make sure that they've brought their student book just by placing a check mark in the workbook. And when I do the workbook, I'm just going to quickly run through and check how many pages they haven't done, and I'm going to write that down here so that I can deduct that from their score later, and we can just use this as an attendance check for the exam. Okay, so there it is. And then you should all know how to upload that file into your eClass. So I'm going to be sending them a message, an eClass message. Let me just bring that across here. So I'm just going to go to announcement, and I'm going to create a new announcement. Midterm exam times. and lists. I'm going to write my message to them. I'm going to select the file, and that's going to take me here. Go back here, and there it is, PDF midterm exam lists. And I've got my file selected. Now I can type my message and send it out. Okay guys, I hope that helps.